Arlene, it is a pleasure.
Thank you.
You're our
The pleasure is all mine.
You're our first female guest.
Yeah, I know.
Big pressure on you now.
Is there? I'm feeling it now. Yeah, really am. Could be all downhill from here, John.
I was listening to your first album, the country album, and I loved it. It reminded me a lot of the stuff that I would listen to growing up. And the thing about country music is there's a lot of kind of snobs out there who talk bad about country music, you know?
Sure do.
You know those snobs?
Yeah.
And I don't get it because I think it's just full of just great stories. And it's very similar to Irish music, isn't it?
It is. And the thing is, I mention country music to people and I get, all right, okay, great. I remember actually meeting with a manager to discuss the possibility of him, you know, managing my career. And he would say, yeah, you're a great singer, but your country. Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from, but your country. And that was it. That was instantly like dismissed, you know. And then I find myself defending it and going, but it's not like this kind of country. It's that kind of country. You know, it comes with an explanation at all times. It's like, well, it's not really Daniel O'Donnell style. It's more, you know, Toby Keith, Shooter Jennings. It's a little bit more kind of edgy and, you know, contemporary and stuff. But you always feel like you're having to justify or explain. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is, and it gets the sort of slagging like, you know, they're crying about their dog dying or their truck or whatever. And I think, you know, that in itself is very snobbery because, you know, it doesn't have to be some big existential crisis to sing about. These are kind of blue-collar kind of songs and everyday happenings for people and real-life struggles. Because guess what? Sometimes for some people, if your dog dies, that's a big fucking deal, even if you want to use that example.
It's worth writing a song about. Yeah.
Or if you fucking haven't got a pen in your pocket and your truck breaks down, that's a big fucking deal.
The basis of a good country song and most country songs is a story, you know, and it will be about things, as you said, that the average Joe Soap can relate to. And it's, right, fine, it's my dog ran away with my neighbour's uncle's cat. But, you know, that's what pulls at the heartstrings. And if you watch any of the, say, American country videos, they're like mini movies. They tell a story from start to finish.
They're short films.
Yeah.
They're deadly. All Garth Brooks' early stuff and all as well, all short films. That's what I actually loved about them.
Right.
And it's funny because it really comes from Irish music. If you look at it, the Irish immigration, the Scotch-Irish and Irish that went there and brought the fiddles and brought the banjos and all that, that was actually the start of it all.
Absolutely.
That's why there's so many similarities now. Like. And it's funny then as well, then you get Irish artists emulating that and the emulate, you know, it's just this kind of circle that keeps going around.
Yeah. It's funny because I brought certain stuff out to Nashville, certain songs out to Nashville, and one in particular that I introduced to the guys when I was recording my second album was Carrick Fergus. I said, okay, right, fine, I'll slap it on the album. It's a great song. It's a powerhouse, you know, when done correctly. And by Jesus, they had transformed it into. You have to, if you haven't listened to it, listen to my version. I'm not blowing my own. I'm not blowing my own trumpet. It's just that they're so talented out there. Ding, 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 ding. No, it's the fact that I was able to bring a huge song like that, hand it over to guys in Nashville who had never heard it before, and they just turned it into this masterpiece. It's the only way I can describe it.
Did you ever think of doing that, getting more of those brilliant Irish songs and giving it that kind of country edge?
Now I have, thanks for the tip.
But it would be, seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the crossover's so great, like.
An entire album of, like, you know, Irish ballads, but,
country
you know,
edge.
Really pinpoint those songs that will translate well with that. That's a great idea.
There's a big audience, like, I know, like, you know, there's probably a bit of snobbery, as you were saying.
It's mainly in
Garth
Dublin.
Look at Garth Brooks with Crow Park. Like, that'll show you, like, you know, how many people are
the
into
source of
country.
Yes,
like,
he's like literally sold more albums than Elvis or Michael Jackson.
But it shocked me when I heard, like, you know, that he was selling out that quantity. At that point, I was like, what?
So I slept out overnight. When Garth Brooks came back to Glasgow, I slept out overnight because I grew up with Garth Brooks, like obsessed with Garth Brooks.
Can I tell you a Garth Brooks story? I was going to say this leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. He was due to do, I can't remember, I have no concept of time, but he was coming to do a tour. I was living in England at the time, and I was in cahoots with people in Nashville, and I got the gig to open up for him. And it was going to be Wembley, it was going to be wherever in Dublin, it was somewhere in France. There was, I think, 5 dates. And the whole tour was cancelled because at that time he was going through a marriage breakup, or the marriage was on the rocks, and the wife gave him an ultimatum. So it's a case of you either stay at home and work on your family, you know, or go on tour with Trisha Yearwood, and things are, you know, we're done here. So I Muggins here, sitting in Manchester waiting for my contract to come from Nashville. Didn't happen. So
that would have been huge.
It would have been. Well,
Particularly
yeah, I
his
suppose.
audience,
Of course it would have been, And I'm kind of thinking now, Jesus, who do you have to sleep with to get this gig?
Is it confirmed yet? Is he coming back now?
I think it's confirmed, yeah.
Oh, I'm going no matter what. Like.
Yeah, he'll be
I'm going with you. Front row, cowboy hat.
A couple of days you'll have to sleep out with that.
100%. The last time I was absolutely gutted. I was cursing those Croke Park residents. The bastards.
Yeah.
You ruined it for us. And he was breaking some sort of record, like 400,000 audience.
How many gigs is he doing this time around?
He's going to try to do the same. I think 5 gigs or something.
5, yeah.
Is it 80,000 per gig or something?
I'm not sure.
Adding up to 400,000 or something.
When you think of the population of the country and then 400,000, it's like, huge.
Think about it, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But the Garth Brooks seemed to be the one that, like, there's that, as I said, that country snobbery. A lot of it comes from, like, dubs don't like country, except for Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
Garth Brooks they love.
Yeah.
He just went across the whole island. You know what I mean? Like, but it's usually the cultures. You know what I mean? Like, but with all the rest of the country western. But he just broke the whole island. Like, and if you like, I remember, I don't hold things ever. Don't hold on to souvenirs or anything like that. I don't hoard things. I just don't care about that kind of thing. And that's sentimental. But a cousin of mine bought me a Garth Brooks DVD set, right, in a golden DVD set, and you couldn't buy them in Ireland. And he bought me one. You couldn't buy them in the Republic. You could buy them up north. And he bought me one when I was 15, and I still have it, and it's upstairs.
No way.
And you just, because they were so good, you know. And people who don't know him and just have this kind of peripheral version of who Garth Brooks is, haven't the fucking clue, because he fucking reinvented country music.
Yeah.
And a big part of his inspiration actually was seeing Freddie Mercury perform in his hometown in Oklahoma.
Really?
And when he saw Freddie Mercury, then he goes, "Oh, I know what I can do now."
You've seen the performance as well.
And then when you see Garth Brooks perform,
He's an absolute showman.
he's an animal. Like, he broke every rule. Like, the you know, country western singers would just sit there in the stool and they just do their thing.
He was like acting like a rock star.
Yeah, and they're all like stick skinny as well. And he was like well built, like a American footballer.
Because he was a doorman or something.
He was a doorman as well. He did loads of little bits and bobs for years. Like,
So there is an audience like that.
There sure is. Yeah,
it's
huge.
It's a quiet majority. Is that what they say? So there is a lot of people. And I suppose what you said, like, there was Big Tom and stuff, wasn't there? Like, there's a lot.
I think Charlie Pride is big over here. Anybody come over here, like,
the Irish country scene is huge. There's a huge market for it. Unfortunately, it's not an area that I fit into. I've never fitted into it, you know. And even I remember when I used to live in England, and I'd play the Irish clubs and the pubs. Sometimes they used to refer to me as Britney Spears, and I'm like, I'm the furthest thing from Britney Spears. But because they were used to Big Tom, Philomena Begley coming in,
you might as well been
an all-girl band rocking in, like, in hot pants and stuff. Now playing Irish country and American country and whatever.
So they're being equally as ignorant as the other group.
This is it. So I don't know. I've yet to find out where I fit. You know, I know that the American audience is receptive. You know, anytime I've played over there, I've done really well. But
Nashville, what was that like? I'd love to go there.
Nashville is great, but I saw it as a business. Do you know, it wasn't like I was there being the tourist going, oh, look at this, look at that. I couldn't have been arsed about that. I just went to record, and I had tunnel vision. I was working the New York and Boston scene, so the Irish scene. And I was commuting. I was making my money in the likes of Katie's Cottage and Rory Dolan's and Yonkers and places like that, and commuting down to Nashville to record my stuff. So yeah, it was all work when I was out there. It was very little play. So
take us back a bit. Take us back to when you started singing. When did you start?
4 years of age.
Wow.
I was one of those kids that wanted to perform, but don't dare tell me I have to get on the stage. I'd be shitting it, you know. I'd be so nervous. And then my dad, we'd go to these places all the time. We'd go to pubs and clubs and whatnot. And, you know, like, when we were younger, it was socially acceptable to be in the bar at 4. You know, it was the norm.
It's Ireland.
That's it. And your lemonade sitting in the corner. But we used to go to Slattery's in particular in Salins. And my dad used to organise these things called crazy nights. So there'd be bands and whatever appearing on the night, and whoever was there, I would be pushed up onto the stage to sing with them. I'd get up, 4 years of age, Teddy Bear. I'd sing that, Elvis Presley, or I'd sing, God, jeez, what else used I sing? I can't remember, but 4 up on the stage.
Wow.
And I remember there'd be, you know, the way there'd be raffles and stuff going on these nights. I'd be handed a teddy bear. I'd be like, but I don't want to get off the stage now. I want to keep singing. And this was an ongoing thing. So if we went on holidays, like we'd go to Salt Hill and wherever for holidays every year, and Daddy would be straight up, my daughter sings, get her up to sing. So I had no choice. It was kind of, I wanted to do it, as I said, but I needed that push. And by Jesus, he pushed me.
You must have had a special bond with him.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Do you know, he died 4 years ago. It'll be 4 years in April. Yeah. And I actually have Daddy's ashes tattooed into my wrist.
Oh, no, that's great.
Yeah. I was desperately close with him. And yeah, he was the driving force. Mammy as well. She's always been supportive, but she would have been the sort that would say to me, do whatever makes you happy. Whereas he'd be a little bit more, you know.
He was pushing you out there.
Yeah.
He probably understood that you were a bit nervous. We were saying that, you know, when you were 4, you didn't want to be in the spotlight, and then he was pushing you out there.
Yeah, well, you see, Daddy sang, and all his brothers sing as well. So he was used to this. He was the big showman. He never sang professionally, but he'd get up and, like, even not long before Daddy died, we'd sing together at Mass. Like, that would have been, we'd always we worked together, and, you know, he always had an interest. And Jesus, when the albums came out, he was straight into the people he worked with in Superquinn and Nace, and it was like he was making copies of them and giving them to people. And I was like, Daddy, do you not understand? I need them to go into top 20 and buy them, because I need to make some feckin' money out of this. And he was like, he didn't get it, but he was just so proud, you know.
That's great.
So yeah, that's it. And then I joined a band at 16, and I upped and left, and I hit England. We went for 9 weeks. We travelled around a bit. It's kind of funny actually, because I left. I remember looking out the window of the van, waving at Mammy and Daddy and whoever else was standing at the gate. They were all bawling. I was kind of like, see ya. Couldn't give a shit. I just wanted to I wanted to get going. I wanted to perform. And yeah, we travelled around England for 9 weeks. It was an all-girl band. And from there, I mean, I'd come home every now and again.
That was at 16?
Just turned 17 at that point, yeah. We travelled around England, and I spent most of my time in a caravan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're an old traveller.
I'm an old traveller.
An English Irish traveller.
But you know what it is? Yeah, I loved that life. We were in a van, and if I wasn't sleeping in a van, I was sleeping in a caravan.
Yeah.
And the stick that we used to get in England.
Yeah.
You think about this now, right?
Yeah.
A group of girls and a manager driving the van and a caravan behind us. Irish regs, Irish accents. Yeah. In England, around about the time they were after bombing the Arndale Centre. So, I mean, we were getting it from every angle. If we weren't being pulled over in Manchester and having the van fleeced to make sure we weren't carrying explosives, we were being called travellers. We were like, so fucking what if I was a traveller? You know, what does it matter? But we were, you know, we were targeted a lot. I know what it's like to kind of get, I've had a taste of that prejudice and whatnot, and it's fucking horrible. Yeah.
Particularly around that time. Everybody was kind of really on high alert, weren't they?
Yeah. Oh, I remember that, and I remember even, Jesus, like I could write a feckin' book. There was one time we were pulled over, and the van was in such a feckin' state, because we were making money at one point, but we were pumping it all back into getting to the next gig or equipment and whatever the hell else. But one time being pulled over and there was smoke coming out of the engine, and the guards or the police took the van off us. It was like, that isn't even roadworthy anymore. Like, you know, it's just...
That's a song.
There's your country song right there. Yeah. But yeah, and then...
You took my van away.
It wasn't even roadworthy.
I need to get my MOT.
Lads, you missed your calling there.
That's a little chorus there.
Yeah. We could get a little trifecta going here.
So, yeah, but no, hilarious. And then even there was times where we'd get decent gigs, but we were still rattling around like, I don't know what.
Would Irish come and visit you there in the gigs? Would Irish come around, or would you go to Irish communities? Or
yeah, like I would have played a lot of the Irish centres and Irish pubs in the UK.
Deadly.
And like I would have been up and down the length and breadth of England on a weekly basis. We got like decent gigs, and we started to get things like tours in or stints in the Middle East. So I would have done, say, a 2-month stint, a 3-month stint in Abu Dhabi, Bahrain. I did cruise work. Bit by bit, it started to kind of improve. But I remember another caravan story was we were given some dates across the continent. So off we went, headed off from Manchester, van, caravan, off we went. And I was doing the maths. Now, we were working for an agent at the time, and we were getting paid at the end of it. I was doing the maths going, well, we have enough money to get to the south of France, but we don't actually have enough money to get back. But no one was listening to me. Yeah. We just kept going. And I remember at one point in France, we had to sell the caravan.
No way.
Because we had no money to get back. It was just like outlandish. Do you know, there's a lot of things that I've experienced in the past, and I think like, Jesus Christ, that's horrible, that's awful. You know, I won't always go into everything. I keep a little bit for myself, but I kind of wouldn't change it either because I've so many fucking random stories.
Great memories.
Yeah.
And when you look back on them, they're better, they're funnier, and you see the bright side of them. Like, at the time, they were trauma. Like,
yeah, I was lying in the bed in that caravan one morning in France, and there was a guy knocking on the window looking to know how much it was going for. I was like, I'm still asleep.
An old French traveller. I do no deal. Bonjour, monsieur.
But
did you find going around, because I've done some gigs with me one man show and done a lot of talks in Irish communities in Britain and in America and in Australia.
Yeah.
And what I found was just this real connection with the Irish diaspora and this sort of appreciation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're so proud of their roots, where they come from, and they're yearning for that connection back home.
The place I saw it the most would have been New York.
Yeah, me too.
Like, the community spirit there is unbelievable. And when you go over, and like, we would have had dates lined up for pubs and whatnot, you go over and it was like they were all ready for you. They were like waiting with arms open to mind you and feed you, and you know, it's gas. And they wouldn't be as nice if they were at home.
I know, it's mad. I met loads of them, and like, these are pillars in the New York scene, like, and big, like, elitists now, a lot of the Irish.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you want? Do you need somewhere to stay? We can get you a job. All this. Do you need to get an ESTA visa? Like, I had a visa nearly got for me. I met fucking de Blasio. No, you know, Bill, I give you a laugh. So I'm in New York, and I'm like, I randomly, what was I doing? So I was at the Crack Fest. Yeah. And anyway, I heard the Sinn Féin were doing an event. Yeah. And I know Jerry Adams. And I said, I'll go along to this event for the crack. So I goes along to the event. Great event. All these Irish Americans, super patriotic people, right? I was saying to myself, I wish we had more of them patriots back home, right? Anyway, meets up with Jerry. Jerry said, do you want to come along to the march tomorrow? I said, the march? I wasn't clocking it. He said, the St. Patrick's Parade, like, we're leading it, the Sinn Féin are leading it. I said, oh, yeah, sure. He said, come along, I want you to lead the parade. I said, what? Yeah. He said, I want you to lead. He said, about time an old traveller led the parade. I said, are you serious? Anyway, so goes along, meets them in this restaurant the next day, meeting all these big elite heads and all. And the one fella, oh yeah, do you want a visa? We can get you a visa. All this kind of stuff. And I was going, what? What's going on here? So anyway, we does the parade. I led the parade. Yeah, and Jerry Adams is singing, what was he singing? A freeborn man of the travelling people. He was singing to me.
No way.
In the parade. It was a great moment.
That's a lovely memory.
Right, but then we were doing the parade, and your man, de Blasio, he was de Blasio, the mayor of fucking New York, he comes over to Jerry because all the politicians have to kind of be sweet with Jerry because all the Irish Americans love Jerry over there. They love him. So they all have to go over, and it's brilliant, right? And so they're coming over, and like, he's going, oh, John here wants to come over. You know, he's head to the Blasio. John wants to come over. He's an actor and all. So the assistants are grabbing my number and all. They're ringing me for 2 or 3 weeks after when I went home about visas and all. Do you want to get a visa for America and all?
Do you know the gas thing about it is you might actually get into Canada that way.
No, I wouldn't but I don't know if he can get me into it. He might be able to. I can't get Canada.
This is the story. Right here it is.
See, I'm a fucking idiot. But with technology, I'm a particular idiot.
Okay.
So I had to go to Canada for whatever reason, Cardboard Gangsters or some festival. So I go on to the Canadian website for this stuff, the Canadian government website. And I filled in their ETA, it's called, right, to get into the country. And I filled it in and pressed send. And
you said to me, this seems like an awful long, big form to fill in for.
Well, 40 pages, right? I never done as much. I said, they're talking about Trump being bad. What about this fucking cunt? What's his name? Trudeau. I said, this fucking cunt, 40 pages I'm at the filling in. I filled out the refugee status page.
And he got denied and then we can't take it in.
And then I was like, hang on, I'm an Irish traveller. We should have refugee status actually when I think about it. But anyway, ever since I can't get back in.
Right.
They won't let me in. They just no when I do the ethic. Fuck off.
Talk to your contacts in the States and see what they can organise.
But the best bit about that story, weren't they giving Jerry, it was the mayor did a dinner and it was the St. Patrick's Day. And he declared that day was Jerry Adams' day. And who was at the dinner? Right 2 feet away from the fella. It was the mayor. Leo Varadkar.
No way.
And they all got up standing ovation and Leo Varadkar having to stand up. for Jerry Adams. Then I said, there is a God. There is a thank you.
Suddenly my stories don't seem all that interesting.
But this is the thing, the Irish abroad.
But the Irish abroad, I love them though. And this is why you hate people talking about plastic paddies and all. They funded all our fucking revolutions. What are you talking about?
But think about it this way though, in all honesty, right? Like, when you go abroad, the Irish songs go on, you're like a million times more patriotic as soon as you go abroad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like what happens to me in the States, either one of two things. I start twanging when I'm talking to people. All of a sudden I'm like sounding like a Yank. And then, or it goes the other way. I'm Maureen O'Hara. Be gorla, be gosh, jingle, be jeeves. You know?
But you find you have to slow right down, don't you? Yeah. I'm so used to it now. When I go there, I tell myself, slow down. You haven't got a clue. Like, they can't hear it. They can't understand it at all. They think it's,
you know what? I feel sorry to people from Cork because they just can't slow it down. They're what's the story?
Sorry, Cork. Sorry, Cork.
I can't understand them at the best of times. And I'm Irish.
We love Cork.
Yeah, no, we love
Cork.
Just don't understand. Down Rebel County.
I'm not saying anything bad about any county, although I will say that one gig I played in Leitrim, I was told to get back in the feckin' van and go off back to Kildare. Yeah, they didn't like me there for some reason. Well, I haven't gone back since to find out.
What's this about Leitrim? There's a few things going up about Leitrim.
Yeah, poor Leitrim gets some out stick as well.
Don't they?
House prices or rental costs, I think, are the lowest there. And I was reading that the other day. I was like, who wants to live there anyway? Sorry, that's terrible.
8 people.
I've no problem with Leitrim.
I just can't wait to be rejected.
Let's just start taking
Leitrim.
off the counties now. Like, who's next?
Moving on to Donegal.
We start at Mayo, will we?
Mayo again. Oh, Mayo, yeah. And the Kennyland. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
So, yeah. Touring around America then.
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was great. Yeah. Loved it. I like to think I'm an American girl at heart. I got really drunk one night and rang my mother and said, look, I had a few drinks earlier and I've had a few more now and I've just gone out and got the American flag tattooed on my lower back. I was like, what? Well, no regrets.
As you do.
Yeah. So, no, I loved it there. Nashville was brilliant. I couldn't believe how lucky I was to be there amongst like serious talent. Like when I went over to record the second album, it was Willie Nelson's keyboard player that produced the album for me. It was Keith Urban's guitar player that featured on the recordings. I was sitting there going like, seriously, some young one from Salins sitting here amongst these guys and, you know, they're putting this together for me, and I was delighted with myself. I really was. So that was probably a highlight, you know. I kept coming out and ringing my mother going, I can't believe it, Willie Nelson's keyboard player. But look, it was a great experience, and as I said, I did the New York scene for quite a while. I suppose I probably at one point spent 9 months there, and then came home and got married and started to settle for the normal life, which didn't sit well with me at all. So, and the marriage didn't last. So 5 years later, I was like, I was still gigging kind of sporadically along the way, but I just said, no, you know what? Between that and then having an operation on my neck, I was told I couldn't, on my C5, I was told there was a risk I mightn't be able to sing afterwards.
Okay.
And I was like, no, that's all I want to do. Sing. You know, and that's kind of what I've been doing ever since. We've a band put together now. It's country rock. We're picking and choosing where we're going with it. You know, we're playing theatre gigs and bits and bobs like that. And it's early days for us. And of course, everything is still in limbo at the minute with COVID. So we don't really know. We don't have a clear picture of what we're doing. So next year, I'd imagine we'll have a
landscape
better
is a bit dodgy still, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, they're talking about another lockdown, aren't they? December 5th.
It's Delta Plus or something they're looking at, isn't it? It's
I can't
never ending. I know, it's crazy.
I know, so sick of it.
Yeah, what was it like for that? Like, it was like 18 months or something, wasn't it?
Like, first it was lovely.
Yeah.
It was like great. A weekend off. Then a weekend off became whatever, how many weekends off. And I was sitting there going, like everyone else, going, right, I'm having my breakfast. What'll I have for lunch? Is it okay to drink wine at 12 o'clock in the day? I suppose it is. That's practically lunchtime, and lunchtime is nearly dinner time. And what am I having for dinner? And like there was loads of
wine.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell. There was a few weeks there where I carried on like it was Christmas. On the couch, drinking, you know.
Yeah, I remember this fella was panicking me to that anyway. COVID's coming anyway, right? I'm bad enough with my mental health, right? And he's a fucking psychotherapist, yeah. He's a fucking psychotherapist. So anyway, he has me fucking I'm gone demented with this fucking, oh, we're all gonna die, the Black Plague, oh, me mother, oh, me grandmother, me brothers, everybody's dead. Anyway, he has fucking this Musgraves thing, and you get fucking cheaper food or whatever, I don't know, fucking 10% off, whatever it is, the wholesale, right? Yeah, anyway, wholesale.
Stocking up for the winter.
We need to stock up, everybody's gonna.
But you remember we went in the queues?
Yeah, but the same panicking anyway, right? The anxiety to live. So we goes into the York, and I tell you one thing, it was like the end of the world.
Yeah.
The way that people's nearly boxing the heads off each other over loaves of breads. I said, oh, Jesus Christ, man. So this only added to my anxiety. Oh, really is the end? Like, this is a dystopian
there
fucking...
was people going around with trolleys. Remember getting real aggressive?
Yeah. They were like playing go-karts with each other, knocking each other off and all.
Out of the way and stuff.
So I said, we're done, lads. We are done. Anyway... Everything I could get. I never had a chickpea in my life. I got 10 crates of chickpeas, whatever the fuck I got.
Are they still in the press?
Yeah, they're still there. They're in my mother's owl trailer. She said, John, we're Travers. We never had chickpeas in our life. He's talking about the nutrition and how satiating you're. Okay, 10 trays, right? Then it goes. Then
so you never made hummus.
Then it sees the alcohol aisle. Yeah, it's over to the alcohol. Jesus Christ, I must have got 10 bottles of vodka, about 100 bottles, fucking whiskey, you name it. I said, fuck it, we go down with a bang. Yeah. I'd say, I came back to my mother first of all, anyway, with all these chickpeas. And my mother literally said, you have to go to a hospital. So you all right? Like, she genuinely said that to me. I was going, I'm telling you, you're not taking it. Because they're all just blasé, blah, fuck over. Like, this is when because we all thought it was the worst thing ever. Yeah. Anyway, it took me about 2 hours to calm down. She calmed me down eventually. And then I'd say I had the drink gone after about 4 or 5 days. 4 or 5 days the drink was gone.
And not one chickpea.
And not one penny left in my name. I said, of course I got and tearing it anyway. And no one dead. At least if someone died, like.
I remember whatever day that we're talking about, you know, the lockdown, the first lockdown. My boyfriend rang me. He was in Lidl, and I was like, "Oh, you're in the supermarket. Well, I think this is really going to happen now. So buy everything. Just get what you know, get everything." But he did come back with like tins of, I want to say meatballs or something that are still at the back of the press, and I'm like, what were we ever going to do with that
emergency
shit? You know?
Supplies.
Yeah, beans and
toilet roll.
Yeah.
Did you find it hard to create though? Do you write your own music?
So no, I don't. We'll get to the one song that I wrote in a minute. Love Dove Glove. Yeah. No, I don't write, but whereas I'm naturally reclusive. I do like to kind of shut the door on people and the world and whatnot. So I didn't really mind at the time, and at that point as well, I was like medicated accordingly for bipolar, which is what I was diagnosed with 2 years ago. And I was grand. I wasn't kind of in limbo. It sort of suited me to close the door on the world. You know, I didn't mind it. Like, yeah, we were going stir crazy at times, and you know, there was no end in sight. But what kept me going as well was that whole, we're all in, not that we were all in it together. People were pulling in different directions, but the fact that we were in the same boat and all the other musicians were sitting at home, and it wasn't like
that's true,
somebody else was doing something and you were sitting there scratching your arse. Like it wasn't like you were missing out. Yeah, there was nothing you could do about it. So, you know, I did nothing, and I was fine with that. Now, we did put out kind of bits and pieces, you know, the odd video here and there from the couch. A lot of bands were doing Facebook Lives on Saturday night. I didn't want to do that. I didn't feel comfortable with it. And I probably needed that reboot as well. I needed the downtime, just time to switch off, to stay at home, to not eat chickpeas, to hang out with me dogs and, you know, and just take a break.
Do you have any kids?
No, I have 3 dogs, 2 cats and a gecko. That's enough.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's enough.
A gecko?
A gecko, yeah. So I've rescued all my animals.
Oh, very good.
So I have a pug, a collie, some sort of terrier, a cross with a beagle. All came from bad situations. Like they were, the pug actually was thrown into a canal.
That's shocking.
After she was no good for any more breeding. The collie had the crap bet out of her basically by a farmer. I don't know about the other little thing. She was in Ash Animal Rescue for about 7 years. The cats and then the gecko I bought for Gordon, my boyfriend, because he's strange. He likes
geckos.
Yeah. So it's a full-time job in itself. There was no kind of, there's never a lie-in my house anyway, because I'm up and it's like time to farm.
It's like Dr. Doolittle's.
Yeah. That's it. So, but yeah, like I didn't, you know, the lockdown, that whole thing didn't really offend me, to be honest. I could do it again for another couple of weeks now. Yeah. Happily. Just to get away from everyone, you know.
The one song you wrote, what song was that?
It was for your friend. Martin Bean's ward.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. See, I've been channeling this. I've been like manifesting you for some time now, you know, through your friends. Yeah, Martin, I got in touch with him and I actually wrote a song for, you know, Marianne. His cousin.
Yeah, his
Hello,
character.
Marianne.
So Martin, we're going to have Martin on the podcast.
Yeah.
Martin has this other character that he plays, Marianne. This real old-fashioned traveller girl, like he was like gives out scandal to other girls and watches wedding tapes. And I was like, I can't know. Hilarious character, like. What was that actually? What was that song that he sang? Was that song? No, he sang another one, A Woman's Heart.
Yeah.
But it was like a pure heart.
Yours.
It was so funny. Like
Martin cracked me up.
About 100,000 hits he has on that or something. Yeah.
And I got in touch with him, and myself and Gordon sat down one day with the guitar, and what it was, the song is called "Find a Man for Marianne," because you know she's always looking for a nice decent lad. And I watched a lot of his videos and picked a lot of his sayings and stuff. I sent it to him, and I think he cried laughing when he heard it. Now, it never materialised. We were going to try and do a blend of us singing it and Marianne maybe dancing around the place. We never got to it, but hopefully we will.
It's not funny that it's like that's what started you writing music, right?
Yeah, but I like writing. I'd love to take any song and turn it into something comedic. Like I like that. Yeah. I'm not naturally.
I see that in you.
Yeah,
that quirkiness.
I'm a bit of a fucking messer. I use my Facebook and Instagram just to entertain people. Yeah. You know the way they say people use social media to show their best side. Yeah. I use it to show my worst. Like, because I really want, you know, like you have all these professional photographs and all the rest, and album photographs, this, that, and the other. And no, if I want to put up a video of myself, you know, like I put up a picture the other day looking like I had been electrocuted after a gym workout. So the hair's like this, the sweat's pumping out of me. And I said, most girls, you know, look pretty in the gym. I look like somebody fecked a hairdryer into a bath. You know, life's short and I like to have the crack. You know, so to have been able to do that for him, again, hopefully we'll actually get to do something proper with it. But I'll have to give him an old nudge and just say, come on, let's
great.
Put something together.
And there's a bit of a country vibe to it.
Oh, there's an absolute country vibe to it, you know.
Classic.
But it's so funny.
Well, he's writing for Traveller Girls.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Like, Marianne's arch nemesis is Samantha, and she's a total walk the road.
Right.
And like, sure, we have her in that in second verse, riddled with scabies and all sorts. Like, it's just
scandalising her.
Yeah. Oh, it's riddled. Yeah.
That's gas. Going back to actually Instagram, people putting the best self forward. Like I've just seen a few people recently, and they have these filters on them that makes them look like they're not human.
Yeah,
like like aliens.
Yeah, like no, but you don't even look like not attractive. Like going what is that?
It's not. It's not
like
human.
An abstract painting or something like that.
You see, and there are a lot of people.
Dali.
You meet the fucking person and they're fucking. You don't know them.
Yeah.
This is my fear that I don't want to look too good in photographs, so that when you show up, they're like, "Who's
this person?"
Yeah,
and you do cool and playing smart.
Yeah, Ugga bugga online. You know, stand a better chance in person.
Pleasantly surprised.
She's not as dodgy looking in reality. But no, like I've seen people. I don't know what's going on in their heads, but they are totally distorted, as you said, and all pictures are like that.
It's mad.
It's a cartoon character, and then
literally,
you know, you see them in Aldi, and it's like,
it's like you're the Simpsons version.
Yeah, and you always know a fat person on it, right?
Right. Go on.
And I can say this because I'm fat, right? So other people, they'd be fat shaming. You always know a fat person on Instagram when they never do a picture of their body. They just do their they just all these headshots, and you know they're looking the best, and then you see them and they're like a fucking skip. You know what I mean? Like,
that's some
they're fool or nobody, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what did he think? I'm just thinking about it, right? These are the same people. These people are actually doing all these photos and then talking about meeting, and it's girls and boys.
Yeah. And
talking about meeting up then, and then they meet up with them and they're fucking the size of a Ford Fiesta. Like, what do they expect people to do? Like, do they think that they're going to continue playing this game?
Yeah, you're better off being straight up.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
It's strange, isn't it? Because it's kind of put your best foot forward, but then when you have to walk forward, it's like, well, who is this person?
This is why dating sites must be a minefield.
Yeah,
like I couldn't be doing with that. I mean, you know, for loads of different reasons. But again, you know, if you kind of, you know, if you see something, you'll assume that that's what you're going to meet. I know it's probably sounds shallow. It's not all about appearances, but again, if they're painting a completely different picture, then that's
what I call Mason. Like our word for conning is mason. Like,
Right.
That's a pure mason. You like, you're walking out and you're going, "Who's this pure lads?" Like genuine. Like, is this the person that met online with? Jesus Christ! Like,
what was it? There's some meme going around. If you want to know what they really look like, take them swimming. And it's like the women with the. Jesus, I sound like a bitch. But you know, the full face of makeup, and you know, when it's washed off.
And listen, men are as bad as well. The men are doing the same thing. Like, and you're going, "What, lads? Come on, you're going to be found out here." Like,
I don't know. It's just a real weird phenomenon.
It's a generation of narcissists. Like,
it really is. Yeah, and it's frightening. Do you know, they put so much weight in that, and it's.
Yeah, they get all their self-esteem and
from a number of likes and from comments.
Maybe they don't even want to turn up and meet people. Maybe it's just all about kind of online stuff. You know, that they're just basically they never intend to, to meet people in real life.
That's a new thing people talk about. Actually, how hard it is actually for people to meet up nowadays. That there's so many people plan to meet up, and it's a constant thing of constantly backing out. Yeah, because they're putting forward this fucking angel face. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
but not only that, all relationships seem to be online. Yeah, online. You know, so many of them seem to be. Yeah, and you know,
even more so recently.
Yeah. Like, I remember years ago, like when we were young fellas, like we'd walk around Darndale looking for young ones to chat them up. You know what I mean? And you go to the corner, "Oh, what story, girls?" and all. And nowadays, the modern version of that is a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
There's no around, like, I walk around there and there's no one out now, no teenagers out doing that. Like, it's a different world. Like, it's so quick. 10, 15 years, it's just have to change. Like,
and it'd be interesting to see what way it changes, if it changes back or it gets worse. Or
who knows?
Strange, isn't it?
I'm baffled by that whole. Again, I sound like an owl one going, you know, the Tinder and like who's sitting over there and who's sitting over there, who's, you know, how many meters away from me at any given point that I could hook up with. It's just it's a strange. We live in a strange world. I think it's only going to get stranger.
Yeah,
to be fair,
that way at the moment, doesn't it?
But no, I find the whole social media thing, it's a great tool, as you know, like to promote your business and whatnot. But it, like, you meet some loons on it, and again, when you put, I know it's the price you pay when you put yourself out there, and I'm not on the same level by no means that you are. So I mean, we were talking about this earlier, that you'd encounter weirdos along the way. I get that, and they think they have free reign to just you know, kind of hound you, or again, this impression that they're your friend because they follow you, or they're friends with you on Facebook. It's a weird, and you know, people at the other end of the country or the other end of the world, and I just get strange attention at times from guys online. I just
they probably think you're a bit of public property as well.
But this is the price you pay when you do try to promote your career. You put yourself on stage. It's the same thing. You leave yourself open for maybe harassment. I've had dogs abuse from people. Like, I really have. I've had people private messaging me and saying all sorts of crap to me, you know, for no good reason. I have a thing as well. If you invade my space, I'm bloody well invading yours. Yeah. You know, so if somebody comes at me with that kind of crap, I will fight back. Yeah. But yeah, you get, you know, the way you get stuff written about you online as well. I've had that before. Like, stupid things like, she's too old to be wearing those runners. What the hell does that mean? Or she needs to learn how to sing before she gets on stage and sings. Now, that's where they're fecking around, because there's one thing I know. I may not be the best singer, but I can bloody well sing. Yeah. You know, so it's just, you let certain things go, and then there's other things like the flurry of dick pics that have come at times. I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
As I always say, what do you want me to do with that? Print it off? Like, stick it up me.
Maybe you should do that. You want Whitney Cummings. She's a famous American comedian. She got that many dick pics, random dick pics, that she made a book of all the dick pics.
You're joking.
It's like a 500-page book of all these dick pics.
But what are these blokes thinking?
They're expecting the girl to come back and go, "Wow, let's meet right now." Yeah. Like, because it's the quick fix thing. Just that's it. It's part of all that.
That's going to be honest. All that shit. It's like, not the most attractive thing at the best of times. If it's
great.
What I'm not familiar with, I'm like,
it's the perfect introduction, like, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like, hello.
I must bring you to meet my mother.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No, I find it really refreshing to turn off the phone at times and just switch off. And again, from a mental health point of view, to have that phone shoved in your face all the time is
I think no matter how hard you are, though, Arlene, like, no matter how tough or what kind of perspective you might have, it is tough, because I've had it in numerous cases, especially particular events, and I went viral for the wrong reasons many times. And when you get that avalanche of hate, like, I don't care how stable you are in your life, and I'm not at the best of times, but that is fucking tough.
Yeah.
When you get hate or judgment, or when you get someone misrepresenting you, and that's not you. You know what I mean? That stuff is fucking really, really tough. Like, and the thing is, people do it and they do it without a conscience, because they're just typing it.
Yeah.
They're not there at face to face saying it to you. There's no consequence to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like what fucking Tyson said, Mike Tyson, like, you know, this whole generation of keyboard warriors, they don't know what it's like to get a punch in the face. You know what I mean? They think they just say what they want about you, and it's a new phenomenon as well. And we see it we see anxiety and bullying and cyberbullying and people killing themselves. And remember that what's her name? That poor one. Yeah. When she was presenter.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Yeah. Be kind. Hashtag be kind. Yeah.
And Caroline Flack.
Caroline Flack. Yeah.
And the poor old thing was literally pleading to people to stop bullying her. Yeah. And then she went and killed herself. And the same people then go on, be kind.
But you know what it is? I think that's another phenomenon. I think we're I sometimes say the world has gone borderline, borderline personality, where you see things in extremes, like, and there's no grey area. It's black and white. Everything's black and white. It's this camp or that camp. And it's almost like when somebody comes out and does something or makes a mistake, and especially if you're in the public eye, and everyone makes mistakes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Show me a human being that hasn't made a mistake and I'll show you a liar. Like the reality is, that's how we learn. Do you know what I mean? It's known that we learn from our mistakes. That's the thing that stands out. That's the lessons you learn, you move on. But if you're in the public eye, and especially nowadays because the whole world has become, two camps, and you're on the wrong side and you do something slightly wrong or say something wrong, you've got a tribe coming at you of a particular opinion, and they come at you heavy, and it can be disproportionate to what you were saying or what you were doing. And it must be absolutely terrible for some people. And you can see Caroline Flack, she was much loved. She'd done a lot of TV shows. She had a huge fan base. She, evidently, in some regard, she might have made a mistake. And the visceral hate that woman got was disgraceful. And you look at these things and you say to yourself, when does this stop, and how do we stop this? Because there's so many people losing their lives or losing themselves to really bad mental health conditions because of these kind of, I suppose, tribes or people, their posses coming after you. It's a crazy situation, and
it's a tricky scenario into how to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? Because what do you censor them? How do you censor them? Where's the cutoff point? What do they have to say in order to censor them? They censor them the right thing. It is a private company, so it isn't like, you know what I mean? It's not a government, so it's just a fucking tricky fucking thing. Like I just had to delete my Twitter. Like I had to delete it for my own mental health.
Well, you came off it.
I've never been on it. I've heard that it's just
that's hell.
Hell, yeah,
hell,
exactly.
Like,
no, I know. Again, any time that I'd receive anything negative, which again, like doesn't happen all that often, but there's been a few times that it's stung like hell. And I often think, if I was down at that time and I was getting that by 10, by 20, whatever, I could maybe see why somebody might resort to taking their own life if they were that desperate and that affected by things, it's just...
I could for sure as well.
Yeah.
I could see that big time.
Yeah.
But even if you're getting loads, it's like even, critically, you get a good review. You could get 10 good reviews. The one bad one sticks with you.
Yeah.
It's a fucking bastard, If they get 10 good reviews, no top one, and just don't read any review.
But this is the thing, you learn from your mistakes. It's the negative things that stand out,
Yeah, they do, yeah.
It's true. Like I've got great comments from people and praise and whatnot, and I know my worth, but then it just took one person to send me a stinking message one time to remind me that if I was as good as I claim to be, why haven't I more successful?
Yeah.
Why haven't I progressed any further than where I'm at?
And meanwhile, this fella's selling dick pics to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how successful you are, mate.
Well, no, this was a woman.
Oh, what
a woman, okay.
To remind me that I was nothing more than a fucking redneck, basically.
Well, she obviously was not happy with her life. Because no one in this world who was happy with their life are sending them sort of messages.
No.
Nobody.
Well, like if I see something online, and we all see things where we'd like to go, you'd like to say whatever, I think it, and then I scroll on. Because I'm never going to be that person. I never want that on my conscience that I have contributed towards somebody else feeling like crap. So.
And I think a good advice is sometimes, if you get an emotional reaction to something and you're online and you want to say something and it's very emotive, is just to not send it until you start to come down.
Yeah.
You start to, the rational brain.
I learned that the hard way. Fucking hell, like I'm an extreme company.
He runs from the heart sometimes. Runs straight from the heart, and the head turns off.
Yeah, head turns off.
But you know what? There's one. That's one of my mottos in life, right? Even though I'm very like very emotional and whatnot, like, and I'm an empath, whatever. But I always say to myself, think with your head, not with your heart.
Yeah.
And that simple thing tends to put me in check.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Logic.
it's
Just
like
think logically and see it through, like.
Yeah. Decider skills.
Yeah.
For example, you know, it's like that one where it's like, is it fact or is it opinion?
Yeah.
Do you know, if you just kind of think a bit more logically and step back from yourself for a minute, feck off for 10 minutes, punch something, have a cigarette, you know, and then say to yourself, am I gonna do this?
Yeah.
See,
my headspace different.
It's gas because for me, that was so hard to do on Twitter because of the avalanche of hate and cunts behind fucking it. Like, I was going that crazy one day because, like, I get 500 tweets in a day of knacker pikey and all sorts of stuff, and not just that. They weren't the worst ones, you know what I mean? It was other stuff of lies about me was the worst. They were like, and it was driving me mental. At particular, say things would happen, 500 texts easily, but I went so mental this one day that I got into it with this fella randomer who was every single day he dropped me a pikey or a knacker every day, and it was his daily thing. He did it and never reacted once. But when this other avalanche of shit comes in and I'm going, oh, she that cunt. So I was like, come on, see me and you, this is how I deal with it, a fight, let's fight.
You're looking for a car park.
I was looking car park, and I wanted his address, right? I thought I got his address. I rang my brother Joe, right? So I was ringing Joe. I said, Joe, what's the story? I said, listen, I said, we have to go down to Mayo now. And he said, the Mayo? What are we going to do? I said, I'm going down to fight this fiend. Who? What fiend, John? What are you talking about? This fella on fucking Twitter. I explained the situation. He said, John, obviously you're not doing well right now mentally. You need to think about this.
Yeah.
I was going down with a cameraman and all to fight this man on his door in Mayo. This is what he will do to you.
In one way, I can relate to that because I was gung ho about getting the car to go to Cork one time.
Yeah.
Now, somebody who was actually giving me shit and continuously giving me shit, and I said, you know what? I'm going to find that fucker's address. I'm not going to hit him. I'm going to get the band, and the band would have been nutty enough to get in the van with me and go and set up at 2:00 in the morning outside his house and blast him out of it. You know, and I would have done
that. Would have been
all
brilliant.
It took.
Now that would have been a viral
No,
video.
what I want to know is, if you did a Garth Brooks song, what would the song be?
If tomorrow never comes.
It's not coming for you. No, but like I can see where I'd be a bit like my dad would have been like that as well, like instantly not to.
That would have been a brilliant way of dealing with it.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
it
it?
could happen.
That would have went worldwide, like deal with cyberbullying that way. Like,
the only problem is,
art.
at the end of it all, he still would have told me I was shit. So you know, he wouldn't have appreciated.
But imagine you won him over, like. You
So
know?
when you finish the song with Martin Wordsby, is there any chance you could do one with John?
Well, it's funny you should say that. Well, I was listening to you singing there the other night, and it was "If I Lay Here." That video, And now I've heard you sing before, and I thought, he can hold a tune. You can really sing.
Well, I did that song was I don't really sing them songs anymore. I really only sing Irish songs.
Yeah.
That was I sang that and a couple other country songs and Imagine and all as part of this thing called Dublin's Got Talent.
Right.
And I only went there because April, who's my double first cousin, like my sister, she was always wanting to be a singer and a brilliant singer, like real powerful voice. But I would have been, say, not more confident, but just more I don't give a fuck. So she said, will you come along with me, and if you audition, I'll audition, please. Yeah. And I said, yeah, no problem. So I just went along and sang a song or whatever. Got through the next round. She got through the next round. But then she, God forgive me, flam. She got bluffed and she never went to the next round. No, she backed out. So I just kept it lit. Right, so he goes to the next round. Okay, down to the final 8 now. Boom, boom. Goes to the next round. Right, I'm in the semis now. And then finally got to the final. Just for the crack there, because I didn't give a bollocks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But singing all kind of more mainstreamy songs, and now I just really just sing kind of travellery songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you know what?
And I went down a few octaves now with all the smoking.
I have an idea now in my head that I'm mulling over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A duet.
Yeah, a duet.
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be up for that.
I tell you, I have been mulling over an idea and I pitched it to a couple of different charities actually. Now, it's a particular song.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that song, but I was looking for somebody to...
Well, our voices match now because I'm
We'll make them match. I'll start smoking again.
Okay.
Cigars. We have Cuban cigars.
We'll share a fag together then when it's all.
And gargle with vodka, of course. That's the trick. But I wanted to do a song for a mental health charity. I wanted to raise awareness. I don't know how, I'd have to obviously deal hand in hand with a charity and kind of figure it out. But I have a song in mind that I want to record with somebody.
Cool.
And so just we could talk about that.
I'd be up for that. I was meant to do one before with Do you remember? What's your man's name? He was at the FAI. John. John fucking. Everybody hates him. The head of the FAI.
Delaney, is it?
John Delaney.
Yeah.
Sang. He sang Joe McDonnell in a pub, and it was after a Rangers Celtic game or whatever. And anyway, they were looking to cancel him. This is before cancellations even came in. This is 2013 or 14 or whatever. Looking to cancel him. So I just put out a Facebook post saying he's singing an Irish song about an Irish hero. What's the big fucking deal? Like, are we gone that far? Like, come on. Anyway, it went viral. And Sean Connors, blah, blah, all this shy talk. But they got in touch with me, the Wolf Tones, and said, would you like to, we'd love to re-record the song with you.
No way.
To do the song. And it was, tell you what time was, you'll remember this, Ternan. Remember I lost my voice?
I do.
Remember I lost my voice? I was gone for about 4 months. It was really bad. Remember, like, and I had to stop talking for a few weeks. I think it was 2017 or 18, Ternan. Yeah. And that was the time when I was so, like, I was dying to do it, man. The Wolf Tones.
That's Murphy's Law.
I know. And Joe McDonnell, I loved, and like, the song, I loved that song. So
what were the chances, though, of that?
I know. I would have loved to do it, but yeah.
I must have killed him to have to stay quiet for a couple of weeks.
I did. It was hard. But I did it. I did the trick, you know.
Yeah. You know, none of us are right. No. Particularly people in the entertainment industry.
No,
we're really not. I was having this conversation with my boyfriend earlier, and he was like, sorry, but like, it's the mania. I have bipolar too, and it's the mania that seems to push me.
A lot of people say that with bipolar in particular. They say, like, Stephen Fry, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he be, you know, the creativity, the mania is like the engine behind some of the most creative processes.
I think if you look at a lot of people that actually feel the need, not everybody, of course, but the vast majority of people that feel the need to get up on stage and entertain and put themselves out there, there's something going on in the background, I think.
We talk about that a lot, don't we? Like, people with trauma and people with different kind of stuff going on in their head, all right. You were diagnosed very late, though, weren't you?
Only about 2 years ago, and I was running around the world like a ticking time bomb, like unmedicated, and, you know, I remember the probably the worst point, I reached over. I've never actually said this out loud before. I reached over while somebody was driving a car in New York and tried to take control of, tried to actually steer the car into a wall, basically.
Jesus.
Like, you know, and like, I wouldn't be, you know, with bipolar 2, the difference between that and 1 is the highs and lows are not as extreme. So, but even still, like, to have a condition like that and not be treated accordingly is a recipe for disaster, you know.
So what was it like before diagnosis? Like, kind of explain what it was like for you, kind of with that, without being diagnosed. Like,
well, I focus so much on the depression, on the lows. That's all I really saw, you know, because anything after that, the hypomania would have been agitation and, you know, great ideas and I'm on top of the world. But I just took that as, oh, I'm in brilliant form. I'm on top of my game, you know. So I used to focus on the lows, and I'd go to doctors and say, I'm depressed. We never got to the root of the problem. And then I think when my dad died, that was kind of like the atomic bomb, you know. And I was like, look, for more reasons than that, I've crossed the 40 mark, and I'm thinking, you know, I don't want to be a grumpy old bitch. There's something going on. There's definitely, it's more than depression, because I know I'd have racing thoughts and I'd be, you know, I'd be all over the place. It wouldn't be unusual for me to get home from a gig and at 6 o'clock in the morning start cleaning the house after no sleep. You know, it'd be, you know, there was a lot of weird behaviour, and I thought this needs to be addressed. So yeah, eventually I got a diagnosis, and I knew it was coming because it had been bandied around beforehand. It had been said to me by a psychiatrist, look, we're exploring the idea of this, that there's more to this than just you're depressed every now and again. So they got me to jot down my moods, to note when I was like this, when I was like that, how many days the lows happened.
See how long the cycle was.
Yeah. What were you doing during the period of time that you were manic, you know? And Jesus, I remember, like, I don't know, it was just like I'd feel absolutely elated. I feel like somebody had injected me with something that head to toe made me feel like I have never been happier. Do you know, this kind of, and it nearly scared me, because I was like, where did that even come from? It's just, it's too extreme. Do you know what I mean? I definitely felt like there was some need to level things off. But by Jesus, when I got the diagnosis and I got the correct dosage of, and meds, the right kind of meds, sure, I was, you know, there was no looking back after that. I mean, I'm not perfect by any means, you know, but to be able to figure out what it was that was going on and to treat accordingly, you know, and then to be able to go and not only be going to see psychotherapists and counsellors and stuff and talking about whatever might be going on, but to know that there was a label on this and we could kind of tailor the conversation and we could, you know, siphon through things and get to the root of things, knowing that I was bipolar as opposed to just, you know, a moody bitch, you know. So, it has been it's been a game changer, of course. Like, and as well as that, I'm kind of sort of at times reluctant to speak about it. I'm thinking, am I doing the right thing? Am I drawing attention to myself? But the reason I decided to talk about it was because I know there's so many people that suffer with their mental health. And, you know, my heart breaks for people that have not spoken out, or, you know, family members who've lost people belonging to them, and, you know, or that weren't aware what was going on, that I'll continue to talk in the hope that people will, you know, speak out. They'll have the bottle to speak out, or that a family member might be able to say, look, I see something going on with you. Let's get you sorted. Let's get help. It can't do any harm. It's not doing me any harm, realistically. It's, you know, it's, if anything, it's therapy for me to keep talking, you know. And
this is the thing. It's like the stigma of kind of mental health, you know, is terrible, because if it was a physical ailment, there wouldn't be an issue. People go and just, you know, they get whatever kind of remedy or whatever kind of medication or treatment that they required to kind of solve the issue. But when it comes to mental health, people are so stigmatized and so ashamed that, you know, that it stops people living kind of productive or happy, or, you know, lives. And it can be so destructive. And it is a physical. The brain is just as, you know, it's a physical part of your body, like,
of course.
And it's just it's another crazy thing that that people kind of somehow separate the body and the brain, the mind.
Yeah.
And it's okay to get sick, you know, physically, if you know, it's something wrong with your kidneys or your liver. But, you know, if you have a mental health issue, no, that's
totally different ball game. You must have had that as well, John, where it would have been a case of, with anything that you've gone through, just get over it. Grand.
Yeah.
Buck up, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've experienced plenty of that.
That and but also silence. People
they don't know what to do with you.
Just deliberately not, and everybody knows, and we all feel it, but nobody's addressing it. A lot of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I was lucky to have a fucking brother who me and my brother Joe always broke the rules in terms of what we were meant to do, what was expected of us, or how we were meant to behave as travellers or anything like that. We always broke the rules. Did really well in school, you know what I mean? Like, just went on our own way, fucking escaped at times and never mixed with other people. And they'd all mix with settled people, mix with everybody. We just kind of always broke the rules. So Joe fucking reached out to me when I was at my lowest, when I was just I was ready to just check out. And he reached out to me, and that was it. Then, like, that was a big moment. But everybody else, people, like, and they deeply love you. You know what I mean? They really deeply love you. Like, my mother tried to reach out to me, but I wouldn't allow that to happen, that conversation with my mother, because my biggest concern was not worry her. Now, little did I fucking know that's all I was fucking doing by being silent, but we don't fucking make sense in our own fucking head. To me, that was perfectly logical, because I didn't want to put that burden on her.
Well, I took an overdose at 15, and I had the same mindset. Don't tell them. Protect them from it. You know, shield them from it. Get on with it. Figure it out yourself. And, you know, my mother only found out about this a matter of weeks ago when there was an article about me in Life magazine. She sat there and read the magazine, and it was a total revelation to her. But, yeah, it was a case of stupidly you try to protect your own while wrecking your own life. Do you know? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? It's sort of...
It does make sense in our heads at the time.
Yeah.
And you look back at it, you go, it's idiotic, you know what I mean? Because they love you. They want to know. They want to be able to help you as well. Like that for, like, I know when people reach out to me who I love and tell, I want that. I do want that. I want to be able to help. And if I am of any help, that does actually feel good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it does. And that's what that's what the conversation should be about. And we're still nowhere near there in Ireland.
No, as a nation we are. It's kind of we pussyfoot, and it's like, I hate when I hear people say he suffers with his nerves, or, you know, so and so who fell into the canal. You know, there's still that we're afraid to kind of push forward and say, well, do you know what? It was suicide. It was this, you know, or I'm this or I'm that. And I know it's hard to open your mouth and say to somebody, I feel like crap, I need help, or to take yourself to A&E if you feel that desperate. But it's about time we start to realise that, as you said, if it was a broken leg, if you had, you know, if you were having a heart attack, you know,
you do something about it.
Do something about it.
But it's funny, because when you talk about suicide, that's an interesting one, because up to only a few years ago, it was illegal to report it. Like, The papers didn't cover it, and we didn't have any kind of numbers about it.
And also, the church
prevalent it was.
Church wouldn't do a mass if it was official.
Yeah,
you know,
it's crazy. But I suppose that's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's good that you got the diagnosis. That was empowering for you then.
Yeah, like it was debilitating as well. At first, I was in a heap. I was like, "Oh Jesus Christ, you know, that's what's wrong with me. I'm mad." But no, sure, we all knew I was fucking mad. We just needed a title, you know, to confirm it.
I think we're all mad. It's just levels of it.
Yeah.
And at particular times, we're more madder than other times.
Who do you know that's actually really got it together?
Yeah.
It was really
My whole life is just me pretending to be not mad.
And then he became an actor.
Yeah, and that's it. I'm an expert at pretending I'm not mad. Like.
Which, you know, I'd love to act, but I'm ridiculous. Like the camera goes on and I'm like, do you know, I just become something so stupid. But I kind of think, do you know what? I've been a master of disguise for years.
Yeah.
I've kept a lot of the stuff that's been going on in my head a secret.
Yeah.
But that's acting. You're acting all your life.
Yeah.
Acting is a defense mechanism.
It is.
And we all need to be actors in life. Like everybody acts differently around different people. Your friends, your mother, no matter who it is, your boss.
Yeah, it's never the
different
same.
people, different personas completely. Like it's mad.
Yeah.
And what acting is just being conscious of that you actually have the ability to do that. Now you just need to be calm.
Yeah.
Relax. That's the main thing with acting. If you can relax, you can do it.
Yeah.
If you can't relax, you're fucked. Particularly with film acting, because a close-up will take up every little tiny idiosyncrasy of your face, any little tiny thing.
Yeah.
And you can't hide nerves in a close-up. And nerves are good in a close-up if you're playing a nervous character. That's the only way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but it's only about, but that only comes with experience, really. Like, and just relax. It's like not the end of the world. They're not going to put a gun to your head and kill you. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it anyway. That's what helps me. I always think about a gun to my head. Is going to be a gun to my head there? No, God.
I kind of say that about a bad audience at a gig. I'm like, you're not bringing them home with you, are you? This ends at some point, you know what I mean?
Depends if you're on Twitter.
Bastards.
But a bad audience is tough as well, isn't it? Though?
Oh,
Like, that's
Jesus.
tough. That is excruciating because you just want to steamroll through and finish the gig, but you can't.
The worst one, well, I've had a few of them actually, but I do remember one time playing in Sunderland and they didn't like us because we were Irish, they didn't like us because we were female, they didn't like us because we were there. It didn't matter. We weren't going to do anything right. So we were looking at them going, they're not going to respond to country now. This is like a workman's club, so we'll have to do the ABBA and the Cher and the whatever else. Oh, they booed us out of the place. Another time I was working on one of the P&O ferries and I was singing it. I sang a Foster and Allen song. This is what pushed someone over the edge. I think I sang Maggie and he put a half pint glass into a pint glass and fucked it at me while I was on the stage. For Maggie.
Jesus.
Like, that's a very inoffensive
I
song.
now know
Foster
why they're
and Allen.
called P&O ferries. Pissed off ferries.
Listen, the fucking Egypts, like the Furies did the Green Fields of France, which got the like number 2 on the top of the pops. Then it got banned when they realised it was a rebel song. It wasn't. They're talking about 1916. World War I, when Willie McBride died in 1960. These cunts don't even fucking listen to the songs. It's like fucking...
Pogues.
No, not the Pope. That's another one's going on about. Fucking Bruce Springsteen, the American one, born in the USA. So fucking Ronald Reagan wanted to turn it. He said, this should be the new national anthem. You just listen to the chorus, born in the USA, and as a U4 kind of thing, not listening to the lyrics. You know, the fellas coming back from Vietnam with the legs, like it's a criticism of the American imperialistic structure.
Yeah.
These fucking idiots just hit the soundboy. Yeah, we'll make the new anthem. You know what I mean? Oh, we'll ban it from the top of the pops. Fucking listen to it, like, you know what I mean? It's like the Dave Chappelle special, the latest one. Like he's getting, they want to cancel him. They mustn't have watched it. You know what I mean? They just want to hear that little, and we'll take it as a statement, and we'll take something that suits us, and now we've something to be angry about.
Do you know what I think it could be as well? You're just making me think there, John, right? So I'm thinking to myself, okay, where is this kind of visceral hatred coming from? Because this is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is visceral hatred.
And then I think to myself, right, so there's a generation of people who are missing context. So if you have like a song or if you have a discussion, that there's some sort of context in there that has deeper meaning, and the sound bites are just aspects of the greater context.
Yeah.
Would that be okay. So Twitter is just sound bites because you're limited by the characters, aren't you?
Yeah.
So we've trained an entire generation to just understand the world by sound bites.
Isn't that mad? And Twitter drives policy, international global policy.
Wow, sound bites.
Sound bites drive international global policy.
Oh my God.
We're fucked.
I was going to say the same thing.
We're fucked. We are fucked.
That's a country and western song. We had to get it going.
We should have just sat here with pen and paper now and jotted down bits and pieces.
Brooks, we're coming for you.
Policy.
We're going for 6 gigs in Crow Park.
No, I definitely know the song about the van being taken off us. That's a song. That's a hit right there.
Let me ask you a question, actually, Arlene, because it's my belief anyway that creativity can save lives. It definitely saved my life, and it's Tiernan's belief, and this is our ethos, kind of, isn't it, Tiernan?
It is.
And you weren't diagnosed till later on, but you kind of always knew there was something going on. If you would have never found music, you never found singing, where do you think you'd be?
I had an interest in psychology, strangely enough. I don't know. I'm not very disciplined, so I don't know if I would have been able to power through with that. I don't know, John, is the answer. I can't really see the clearing for the trees.
It's so embedded in you.
It really is, do you know? And I think about it, like, I'm very much...
You see it as a gift?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Jesus. Again, my dad was a singer. My mum couldn't sing now to save her life, but she's good looking, so I got a good blend, you know. But anyway,
hence the Britney Spears thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. But no, I don't know. I do feel like I've been gifted with something. I love to entertain. I don't see anything else, and as long as I have that tunnel vision, I think that'll see me through.
Yeah.
I tend to get lost. Like, I could be playing in the pokiest little pub, but in my head, I'm in the Grand Ole Opry. And I think that's something that saved me, like, through negative experiences and shit gigs and whatever in the past, that I have the ability to go somewhere else at all times, and I never get bored. I never get bored. I don't know what that's about. I don't get bored. Because if I've nothing to do, I think of something to do. Do you know? Or something. I go somewhere else with my mind. I know that sounds very really kooky or whatever, but I don't get bored, and I'm still the same girl that stood in the wall at 10 years of age, listening to Cher, bouncing around, pretending I was in my own music video. I'll still, you know, even if I'm not in my own music video, if I'm on stage and I'm performing, I'm lost I'm in a happy place, and it's like that, to me, that saves me. Yeah. It definitely does, do you know, because like on my worst day, I remember we were talking about this with the band the other night when we were rehearsing. I had a gig to go to one night, and I sobbed all the way to the gig, and I didn't think I was going to get out of the van to go and perform. I didn't know how I was going to. I was so down at the time, and it's like a workout. You never regret doing it. You know what I mean?
It's
you
just
never
the motivation to do it. Yeah.
So I found myself on stage. I'm thinking, no one knows here what's going on in my head, but this is where I need to be right now for my soul, because it keeps me happy.
Have you ever heard the Christy Hennessy song "I'm a Star"?
Probably, but I can't.
You have to hear some song, and it's a song just about those artists that don't make it big, as in not the big lights of fucking Hollywood or whatever it is, but they're still a star to themselves, and they still have that odd night where they get that standing ovation, and it all makes sense. And when I heard that song, I was like, this is a powerful message, because so many are obsessed with reaching the highest. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I remember doing my one-man show, and it ranged between 30 in the audience to 500, but mostly the smaller, because this is a one-man show. I remember thinking one night going, you know, if I just did this forever, like, I'm happy. Like, if I just did this forever and I never made it big, and I'm genuine, if a camera never got put on me again and I just got to do the show, or this kind of thing, theatre like this, I'd be fucking happy, like, because the feeling I'm getting, that's all it is. Like, the rest of it's all ego outside of that. Am I happy with where I'm at right now? Does this feel good? Am I getting catharsis from this? Fuck yeah. Sure, it doesn't get better than this. Is pure, actually. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? But we get conditioned to think for the fucking big, huge lights.
Well, this is the thing. I think it's sometimes in life we get caught on the outcome rather than the process.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So everybody's like, what's the outcome? It's like, well, hang on, the outcome will happen of its own. It's the process you should be looking at, enjoying the process. And the more you're enjoying the process and you're ingrained in the process and you're doing everything, you know, process oriented, then the outcome will.
And those people never get there who get obsessed with the outcome.
Too focused
on the outcome.
Yeah. And they miss
They're
the process.
focusing on getting that warm, fuzzy ego feeling.
What you say
rather
about
than the process.
About the one-man show, I know, like, I did an acoustic gig recently in a church in Naas, right? And I'd say there was 40 people at it.
Yeah.
And every person there. I was able to connect directly with every person. I was able to sit and tell stories. I was able to sing my own songs.
Brilliant.
Do you know what I mean? And to walk away from a gig like that, I'm thinking, is it necessarily the be all and end all? Sure, I want a massive audience. I want to be playing, you know, but I mean, that in itself, you know, felt brilliant to walk away from and say, look, I've affected everybody. Maybe maybe some of them didn't like me, but either way, I managed to put my message across, you know.
And it's more intimate, isn't it? Really, like there's a real connection as opposed to the kind of mass connection. I can imagine. Like obviously, I don't sing, but I would imagine like the psychology of it. You know, there is that kind of. I suppose the ego gets, you know, inflated because of the numbers, but when it comes to the heart and the soul, it's the small numbers and that kind of individual connection that really is the thing that makes it.
I did a show in Australia, 500 people, and a one-man show is a lot, right? All these Irish bands, crazy show. Told you all about that, right? Just a crazy show. So that was the biggest. The smallest it did was this show, and this was the best show I ever did in my life out of 86 shows of this. And any time I was on stage, no matter, that was me one man, anytime I've ever been on stage since the start of acting, it's the best show I ever done. So I agreed to do a show in the Darndale Rehabilitation Centre, RASP, and I forgot about it, right? And 4.5 months went by and I didn't do the show. Now 4.5 months I didn't do the show, no rehearsals, didn't do lines and whatever. And my grandfather was dying, right? I was looking after my grandfather every day. I lived right next door to him and all that. So I'm giving him his medication, all this and whatever. And he was in the last couple of days, and I didn't want to miss his death. I wanted to be there when he actually left the earth. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was drinking all these Red Bulls, I was drinking all these coffees, and I kind of had like a touch of psychosis because I was up for about 3 days. And I get this phone call, and it's the Darndale Centre, RASP. And it's like, hey, John, blah, blah, RASP here. Are you on the way? RASP? Who's RASP now again? Explain. Where am I going? Oh, well, you're due on at 10:15 on we've made a little kind of makeshift stage for you to do your show. Ireland's called. Remember? And oh my God. Just quick thinking. Yep. All right, I'll go over. Riddled out with anxiety. Couldn't even grab me thoughts. Going, what? I'm going, I have to go over here. So I sprinted over, got to the front door, was a nervous wreck. And all I was trying to catch was, what's the first line? Right? Yeah. Couldn't catch the first line turn. Couldn't get the first line. Couldn't find it in my phone where my script was. Didn't know where it was. Jimmy had it saved in his yoke, and I deleted all my messages. Oh, no. Couldn't even find my script. I was like, oh, my God. Panicking, comes in the door. Your man, the psychologist, comes over to me. You all right? I said, listen, here's the situation, blah, blah, blah. My grandfather's dying. I need to get back over quick. I'm going to do this. But he said, are you sure you want that? I said, I'm not going to back away. Just give me 5 minutes. And I was in this little room just across from it, and I was start taking this panic attack. Now, luckily, the way I set up the show originally was I always came on acting nervous in the show. And it was the way of when I originally started the show way back in Beauties of getting rid of my own nerves. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because then if you're nervous, I can play nervous, and then I get out of the nerves. But this time I needed it. And I was taking a panic attack as I was going on the stage. And I couldn't find the first line. And I was walking onto the stage. I was taking a panic attack, and they're all there laughing, you know, thinking I'm fucking acting, not acting at all. I was actually taking, and it was a really bad one that I couldn't contain. So I sat down in the chair and I started breathing. Took about 2 minutes with the panic attack, doing a nod, all this, and they're all laughing their heads off. I'm going, it starts to come down a bit. I said, I can't remember the first line. So then I just started improvising, and improvised for 10 minutes, and it was turned into like a stand-up show. It was like, just couldn't stop laughing, right? And all these addicts and stuff, you know. And finally, after about 10 minutes, I had them laughing their heads off. I got the first line, boom. And I went the whole way through.
No way.
Yeah, the whole way through the show. Never bumped a line after that, right? They had no idea. They don't know. They think that was a part of the show, you know? And at the end of it all, right, they all stood up, right, and they were all crying. And I just busted out crying. And like I said this thing before, when sometimes I did that show because there's social issues. It seems sometimes someone's kind of meant to be in the audience to hear it, you know what I mean? Like, and they go, I was meant to be there, you know? And it was that night, that day, I was meant to do it for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and they all come over to me and start hugging me. And it was this mad communal fucking thing.
Experience.
That is like, you go, fuck, this is, it will never get as good as this. It'll never be as pure as this. 30 people. 30 people, all fucking addicts who are desperate. But
it's that connection. You know?
That connection.
Just that moment. You know what I mean? And it's so rare.
Yeah.
Like, it's so rare in life.
What's a fucking Hollywood or rom-com, you know what I mean, compared to that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, It's fucking doesn't matter.
It's a beautiful thing.
Doesn't matter how small the audience are. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Are you going to sing us a song?
Am I?
We're putting you on the spot.
We have to.
Before we go, you have to sing us a song.
We have to get a bit of music.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll get my guitar.
I'll sing
I'll have the banjo.
a little snippet of one of the songs from the album. Okay, so
Deadly.
let me have a look. Yeah, this song was written for me by a guy in Nashville. Donnie Skaggs is his name. The whole theme of the album is like I kind of fly the flag for independent women and whatnot. Like I Am Woman on the album as well. That being said, I'm not an out and out feminist. As I said to somebody earlier, if I want to make a sandwich for my man, I'm feckin' making it, you know. But this song in particular is called Everything I'm Not, and it's again, it's about how this girl goes into a relationship with somebody, and all of a sudden it's like she's cleaning up his dishes and whatever the hell else. Second verse is, it don't take a mystic or quantum physics to run that washing machine. And all of your wishes won't wash those dishes piling up in the sink. That's a bit high. Your friend's beer can sitting on the table better be gone tonight, or you won't need no pay-per-view to see one hell of a fight. And then it goes, I'm not your maid, I'm not your mama.
Very good. Well done. That's brilliant.
You did put me on the spot.
Yeah. I know, I'm sorry about that. But
you're a singer on the podcast.
We have to do it.
Gotta get you to do it. We got Paddy as well. Paddy's
Paddy.
Before we go, where can people get you?
So on Facebook, it's Arlene Bailey. The band is Bailey Tunes. On Instagram, it's Arlene Bailey 1.
Spotify.
Yeah, if you find out Spotify, of course, the album is there. The 3 albums are on Spotify. You'll find plenty of stories, good and bad, on the internet if you Google me. Believe every one of them. Yeah, that's me, you know. And to the stalkers out there, no, I don't live in a toy.
And if you keep it up, there'll be a band, and John will be down singing the duet.
I'll be outside singing Dinger's Lullaby.
There'll be the pair of us there looking to punch the heads off people. I'm telling you, we're like one.
That's the way to do it.
And I'll be there talking about the cost-benefit analysis.
Arlene, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much.
So much for having me, guys.
Thanks,
really
Arlene.
enjoyed it. Thank you.
All the best. You can follow us on social media at Clusterfox Podcast.